Well, hello. Welcome to On the Fives. I'm your host, Nicole of the Red Five Reading Book Club, as that's in conjunction with On the Fives. Hello and welcome to everybody. I see we have a lot of people in the chat, and I'm so excited that you guys are all here. We're going to be going over a few things before we really dig in deep, because we just have a few minutes to hang out. Megan from an Autistic Point of View was going to be joining us tonight, and she had a little bit of a traffic delay. Boo. You know, we all love traffic, right? But I am so grateful that you guys are all here. This is great because tonight's like new because I'm excited because anyways, let's talk to the chat first and we're going to get to that. I thought I saw first up was Ro. Hello to Ro of Scare Podcast, also the Red 5 Network creator. Hello to him. And he's also known as the wizard behind the curtain sometimes because he's really helpful in helping me like get out of jams, teaching me things, and well, get this show up and running kind of thing. So yeah, make sure you check out Scare Podcast. Oh, I see you, Baldo. Oh, hello to Used and Abused, Mr. Scott. I am so excited to see my friend. We needed to be reading always. Hello, Red 5 Reading Book Club in conjunction with hello. I think this is in regards to Ro because he said hello earlier. Well, I'm still calling out Ro because he's awesome and because he helps me a lot. Hello to Backyard TARDIS. If you did not catch the last On the Fives from February 25th, please go and check that out. Backyard TARDIS, Nicholas was with me. It was great to get to know my fellow Red 5 Book Club member as well as my Red 5 content creator. It was great to hang out with him. So awesome. Check out that episode as well as check out Backyard TARDIS. He's got some great podcasts. He's awesome. I see. Let's see here. Oh, myself. All right. Isaac, hello to you. Welcome. I'm not sure that was thumbs up. Yeah, please hit the thumbs up. That would be great. Greatly appreciated. Let's get this algorithm going. Hello to my friend Patrick. It's great to see him. Get to see him actually last week. We went to go see Gaelic Storm. So good. So good. If you're Irish, it doesn't matter. If you love music, check out Gaelic Storm. They're awesome. Hello to my dad. Hello. My dad's awesome. So I'm going to say hello to Kenny because he's wonderful. Hello, Alan. Oh my God, how are you? It's been forever. So good to see Alan in the house. You surpassed the teacher, Nicole. The teacher. I don't know if he's the teacher. I think he's the master, and I have not even come close yet. I might have didn't even get a chance to download photos. It is what it is. It's great to see everybody. It is so good to see everybody. I'm loving this. Yeah, that happened. That's what happens when you have dangly earrings. Okay. I noticed the other day, though, when I was watching the Oscars, though, some people actually just had like one earring. And now I understand why. They're heavy. They drop. It happens. I know most of you guys are guys, which is awesome. But any girls that are listening, you know. And if Danny's listening later on, she knows for sure. She knows. So I'm so excited that everyone's here. This is great. Again, welcome to On the Fives. What is On the Fives? If this is your first time here, please hit the like and subscribe button. The Red 5 Network is, yes, where the On the Fives is, it's housed because it's in conjunction with the Red 5 Network, which you can find at biolink/Red5. There is many wonderful podcasts that you want to check out, as well as the book club and the Red 5 Tavern, which is Dungeons and Dragons. So much fun. You're going to get used to this. This is my cat. That's Glinda. And there's another one. There's two of them. Alphaba. Anybody who's been here before knows. You watch the Oscars. Okay, hold up. We're going to stop on that because we have time, a few extra minutes anyway. So yes, I've been dying to talk about the Oscars. Why? Because I am an Ozian. What does that mean? I love Wizard of Oz. My cat's name is Glinda. Her sister's name is Alphaba. I love Wizard of Oz. Now, I was not originally going to watch the Oscars. Then they dropped it. Oh, by the way, Wicked's going to be opening up the Oscars. Say what? Okay, I had to. Okay, I had to. Now, I would like to make a special note that after that medley ended, which was amazing, by the way, absolutely iconic. It will be forever sealed in history. It actually, I think it had like an over 50% drop in ratings. Not just ratings, but like audience. Sorry, that's the word I meant to say, audience. Now, I am glad I kept watching. Why? Because why Wicked did not win Best Picture, it won the Hearts. Why did it win the Hearts? When they did Quincy Jones' tribute, you know what song they picked? From The Wiz? Wizard of Oz. Y'all, Wizard of Oz is from Frank Alban from 1900. So it goes through the generations. This is what's so great about books. And that's why we're going to be talking about Brothers Grimm's and many others tonight. But yeah, Wizard of Oz, Ozians, we won. Because even when they closed, if you go to listen to the credits, it's Wizard of Oz. Ozian, very happy. Again, I wasn't planning on watching. But we did. Why I also have Mr. Allen in the house for great reviews. When we talk about Sleeping Beauty tonight, there is one we're going to talk about a little bit, very little bit. You and I could probably easily talk about it on Grave Reviews. It's darker than the Brothers Grimm. I didn't think I'd ever see that happen. I mean, it's not like it's Stephen King, but I'm wondering if Stephen King read Sleeping Beauty, like the original. And I don't mean the Brothers Grimm. Wondering, because may I tell you, it's dark, y'all. It's dark. So just saying, Alan, if you ever want to do Sleeping Beauty and go to the darkest one, hit me up. I'll talk. But it's going to want to be late, because let me tell you, it's not allowed for children. Y'all are going to thank me and Megan later and thank Walt Disney and Brothers Grimm for changing the story, changing the fairy tale, not changing it, adapting it, making it, going from the adultness of fairy tales, which let me tell you, fairy tales are meant for adults in the original first place. But to go back, and they changed it so even children could watch, could read. Not the original. Not the original. Y'all, that is a dark, dark tone. That is Stephen King back then. That's all I'm going to say on that one. Anyways, yes, we are Red 5. Yes, we are. Oscar the Grouch, no. But fun fact, kind of going back to Wizard of Oz, once upon a time, Margaret, who played the Wicked Witch in the 1939 Wizard of Oz, went to visit Sesame Street. They thought it was so scary, they banned it off of Sesame Street. You can find it on YouTube. These days, it's not scary at all. Not even close. And what's really sad is that she is like, if you look her up, she's a very sweet lady. She was just really good at her job. She's amazing. She deserved an Oscar. Celebrate your Ozziness. Yes. I am. I've been really dying to talk about that all week because I have Ozzian friends, but they're not here. I need more. I really do. I love Wizard of Oz. I refuse glass. You know what? Hey, I understand. Again, I was not going to originally. And again, their audience went down. It plummeted a big number. And honestly, I think the Oscars need to step back and realize that after their first 10 minutes, who their audience is, what the one and the audience who didn't end up winning the Best Picture or didn't have their director up there was the one that won the hearts of everybody. Nothing against the other nominations, but it's not what obviously the audience wanted. And I hope the Oscars and the Academy pays attention to that. They really need to pay attention. Oh, it's edgy, very edgy. The movies that win the Oscars often don't reflect popular taste. True. I honestly did not see this movie. Honestly, I didn't watch it. It's also not one that I normally would watch. Either the one that won Best Picture, but Wicked, absolutely. Absolutely did. And it did win some Oscars. The man who created, actually even did the Target line. Now I feel like I had something special. I want to say his name's Paul. He won an Oscar. And what's big is that was history making. He was the first Black man to win for costume design. I'm so proud of him. It was awesome. Yeah. Again, y'all, let me tell you, Grammys, I don't even want to talk about that. It is not. It's not. I get it. I get you guys. Okay. Yep. Into the Woods is fun. Yes. Another dark. Okay. Here, let me tell you something. Those who are Swifties, you know why they liked the tribute for 007? The dancers. The Academy got smart and hired Taylor Swift's backup dancers. You guys, let me tell you, when I was reading tweets that night and everything coming through my newsfeed, did it have anything to do with James Bond himself? No. It all had to do with the dancers who were in the tribute. Very cool. Oh, it's so good to see you. Thank you, Ellen. It is great. And again, if you want to go the darker roots of Sleeping Beauty, I'll go there. Just let me know, Ellen. I'm there. So again, welcome again to everybody who's joining us. We're going to be starting momentarily. It looks like Megan is getting warmed up in the back room, and I'm so excited that she is here. But I want to give you guys a little bit of backup information here. So I'm starting a new series tonight called Once Upon a Fairy Tale. This idea originated back in, not originally, July 23rd, 2023. Yeah, 2023. The other podcast I'm in is called Used and Abused, and we had a ladies' night. We were doing a Disney breakdown. Feel free to go check out Used and Abused, and you can check out all those in the archives. And we did a bunch of Disney stuff, which was so much fun. And we did a ladies' night. So much fun. All of us ladies had a fun time. We had a good time. We were laughing, having fun, even afterwards. I'm sorry, but even the green room was amazing afterwards. Well, from that, shortly later, I had begun the Red 5 Reading Book Club, which you are more than welcome to join us. Currently, we're reading C.S. Lewis. And I got an idea. From that show, I wanted to do more. I wanted to get to know my fellow content creators, which is what I'm still doing, but I wanted to break down those books a little bit more. And in conjunction to their animated counterpart. And tonight we're going to be doing a little bit of both. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to do a little bit of both. I'm also going to get to know my fellow content creators. And I'm excited because Megan, who's joining us tonight, is from an Autistic Point of View. She was with us that evening. Now, I would like to let you guys know she was the winner. And she's actually going to be wearing her little Sleeping Beauty shirt that she actually won from that because there was a game that we played that night. But we also... we changed up this a little bit. Snow White, while she is technically the first in the Disney era, she's not maybe or may not be the first in the era of fairy tales. So we're going to kind of change it up a little bit in the regards to this. It may or may not be chronological. Depends on what you're looking at. Is it from Disney standpoint or is it from Brothers Grimm? Or is it from another author? Hint, hint. There's definitely a lot of information coming. That being said, originally when we did that podcast, Kim, who will be joining us during this series, did Sleeping Beauty. And tonight, Megan is actually going to be talking Sleeping Beauty with me and with you guys, the viewers. But I'm so excited because Kim is going to be here on the Fives. We're going to be talking about her other favorite Disney princess, and that's Belle from Beauty and the Beast. And I'm really excited because we also have something else special coming up for Disney's first animated princess. And I'm going to talk to you guys about that at the end of the show because I'm so excited because, again, we have Megan from an Autistic Point of View. She's blogging, and I'm so excited that she is here. And please say hello. Hello.
Hey everyone.
I'm so good you're here. You made
Yes,
it.
thank you for holding for me and for stalling.
Oh,
I tried to get home as quick as I could, but it was literally a perfect storm of it being night, a tiny parking lot, and I seriously couldn't even move out of my parking spot for like 15
wow.
minutes.
Eek. It
And it's
happens.
raining. So
It's
that made
okay.
the road hard to see at times. So yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
But point being is thanks for stalling and thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here. I am. I'm very, very glad you're here. This is going to be so much fun. As I was saying that this started, back in July of 2023. And shortly after that happened is when I started working and spearheading the Red 5 Reading Book Club. And this idea started developing and developing. And her not here. I see Megan on my side. Megan, I'm going to put you in the back room and I'm going to bring you back out. Okay.
Okay.
I can see you. Can everybody else see Megan? I'm going to remove you and I'm going to bring you back in. All right. Let's welcome Miss Megan back in. Again, I can.
Hey, Nicole. Hey, everyone. Can everyone see me? Can everyone hear me?
I see you. I hear you. I see you.
Can the audience see and hear me, though?
I think so. I guess
Everyone
we'll see.
Can hear me? What are the responses saying?
Or is she a ghost? Hopefully a friendly one. Scott says, now we can see her. Yay. Awesome. And
then
you
I'll
won.
Then I'll repeat what I just said. Thank you, Nicole, so much for waiting and holding this for me. It was a perfect storm getting home of rain and tiny parking lot, and I couldn't get out of my spot at church for literally like 15 minutes. And then I got home as quick as I could.
All good.
So thank you again for waiting.
And you know what? It kind of worked out because we have a lot of really cool people in our chat tonight, which I thank you for everybody. And again, please hit the like and subscribe button. And we were talking about the Oscars. I've been dying to talk about the Oscars and not actually about the Oscars.
But about the Wicked tribute and the 007 tribute?
On Oz and the Wiz, all of it, all the Ozian stuff. I didn't talk about anything else. Oh, and I talked about how they plummeted.
And right now the songs, What Is This Feeling and Defying Gravity are going through my head. Not that I mind, of course, because they're good songs.
Well, you're welcome. And they're going to be stuck in mind for a long time. So the night that we began, that we did our ladies' night, you won the game because I actually created a really fun game. And you won your Nap Queen. Yes, Nap Queen. And then, so tonight we're wrapping our Sleeping Beauty. And again, Kim was originally the one who talked about Sleeping Beauty on the first on that night. And this time we're going to change it up because you're going to be talking to Sleeping Beauty with me, and she's going to be returning and talking about Belle. And I'm excited because they're both wonderful characters.
Yeah, and what's funny is I like to consider myself a combination of both Sleeping Beauty and Belle, because the one thing of mine you don't mess with is my sleep unless it's an emergency.
Y'all got to understand, like I was rewatching that podcast and re-listening. A lot of us are nappers in that group. I'm like, and I just remember thinking to myself during the game, like, well, somebody's going to get a Nap Queen t-shirt. That's all I knew. I'm like, everybody loved Sleeping Beauty and her Nap Queen
I will
t-shirt.
Literally nap, as long as it's not behind the wheel, obviously, I will literally nap wherever.
So anyway, so from that fun night, again, this idea came up to me that I'm like, I want to get down to the nitty gritty. I want to talk about the books. I want to talk about the animated counterpart. And I still wanted to get to know my fellow content creators. So without further ado, Megan, we're going to do a quick Sleeping Beauty edition of This or That, because I'm going to continue on.
It's always fun with you.
You know what? I think I made it pretty fun. Pretty fun. I think so. We'll start off easy. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Blue or pink?
Blue.
Blue.
The only reason I'm wearing pink is because it's Aurora's color.
It is Aurora's
color. Other than that, yeah.
Well, technically, the other one wants it blue.
Yeah, I like your shirt. Midnight. What's it say? Midnight.
Midnights become my afternoons.
Yes, I want that shirt.
when you have insomnia and you're able to take a nap in the afternoon, you know how good that feels? Just saying. It's amazing. All right. Would you rather live at the woodcutter's cottage or the castle?
Ooh, I mean, I like the seclusion of the woodcutter's cabin, but also it's a castle. Lots of rooms. If you want privacy, just walk to a different part of it. And you still have people close by to help with anything. So it's like, ooh, which do I pick? I mean,
you can have seclusion or you can have a castle with people.
I think I'll go with the castle because you can kind of have both. Like I said, especially in like Sleeping Beauty's like stone castle, just go somewhere else where people aren't.
Oh, okay. I have to add some of these comments. Blue.
Yes.
Cottage. I'm with you. I want the animals. Oh, this is also very true. Megan has been the one to call me evil. Thanks, Megan.
That's why I was being nice. And I was saying you make it fun instead.
Okay. Would you rather be wandering or dancing?
Again, wandering. Because I've been known to do that at times when I just have a lot on my mind.
See, and I'm dancing. That's my jam. Okay. Picking between two songs. I Wander. See, speaking of I Wonder, or Once Upon a Dream.
Ooh. Probably Once Upon a Dream, because when I think of Sleeping Beauty, that's the first song that comes to my head.
And final question. Would you rather have a story specifically about this would be totally separate, brand new, it could be a book, it could be a movie, whatever. Okay. It's my own take on the Roe question, but Sleeping Beauty edition. Because the Roe question is hero or villain,
Yeah.
Which team are you here? So I changed it. Up, but I kept it the same. Three Fairies or Maleficent?
I'd probably go for Three Fairies because when it comes to Star Wars, it's like I'm all light side and stuff. So yeah, stick me with the good side and the fairies and all of them.
She's like, I'm sticking with this. She's sticking with the good side. What about everybody in the chat? You gonna go team villain? Are you still team Roe? Or are you going like darker? Or not darker. That is darker. Or the light side. The light side, which is red. I'm very curious. Oh my goodness. This is going to be so interesting. So again,
what about you, Nicole? Are you Three Fairies or are you Maleficent?
I guess that depends on the mood in the day. This is true, people. This is true.
Nicole can have a bit of a sassy side, so yes, I could see it.
Yeah, that's true. I'm pretty sure if my dad's still listening, which I'm sure he is, can confirm. All right. So before we really start digging in and getting into the books and getting into the Disney animated, which we'll do one part and one part, what do you have? Do you have like a favorite like childhood memory of Sleeping Beauty, or even as an adult with Sleeping Beauty?
Mainly just going to Disneyland and being in front of that castle, walking down Main Street, and that castle being the first thing you see.
This comes to no surprise. Scott says, villain. I cannot wait to talk about the villain, but it's going to come in the second half. There's your hint right there. You've never read the book.
So in other words, stay tuned. Don't move.
Exactly. Stay tuned. For me, I know I shared this on our ladies' night, but it's been a while. So I don't think it's been a while. The first memory that I have of Sleeping Beauty that I can remember, I was at my uncle and my aunt's house. And I was at their house and I was watching Sleeping Beauty because we didn't own it. We had other movies. We had plenty of other movies. And my grandparents had plenty of other movies. But that was my first like remembrance. I have yet to go to Disneyland. Been to Disney World, not Disneyland. So I've yet to see the castle. And I think that would be very special.
Yeah, because I think the castle in Disney World at Magic Kingdom is actually Cinderella's castle, not Sleeping Beauty's.
I'm sorry, what?
I said, I think if I have my facts correct, I could be wrong. The castle in the Magic Kingdom in Disney World is actually Cinderella's castle, not Sleeping Beauty's.
Disney World is Cinderella's.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Correct. I've seen Cinderella's, not Sleeping Beauty's. So they both get a castle. Although I'd rather be at her. Okay, it'll all make sense at the end, y'all. Let me tell you. It's going to, some things are going to make more sense. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of show and tell. First I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, this is very old. This is from what I've been able to gather from 1979. This was given to my mom, who gave it to me. My daughter eventually will receive this beautiful treasury. My mom got it from her brother and my uncle, and it is the World Treasury of Fairy Tales. It was done in Great Britain, but printed in Czechoslovakia. Hope I said that right, Czechoslovakia. Okay, yeah, this is a very old book, you guys. I can't even begin to say how old this is. I have to be very careful. I do plan on getting it rebounded because it's going to be given down to generations. It's been loved, okay? Let's use the words. It's been loved very, very dearly. But I want to show you guys some of these beautiful artwork pages because they are absolutely beautiful.
And this is the first time I'm seeing those too, so I'm impressed.
And, oh yeah, these are beautiful pages, you guys. I was enchanted with this book as a child. I loved this book, which is probably doesn't surprise. I want to get a really good glimpse, though, of this shot. Can you see the, I don't know if you guys can see her. You guys can't probably see her. I'll have to take another picture, but there is, oh, right here, my finger's on her. That is an evil fairy. Hint, hint. This story also differs from others. Why? Because it also has a giant spider web. You guys, this is something that's not in other books.
They know the spiders.
Which leads me to the copy I have, and I know Megan has the copy of, and that is my Brothers Grimm. It's Snow White and the Fairy Tales. These are beautiful.
Yes.
Okay.
Nicole sent me this. I was impressed. I was like, wow, this is an amazing book.
It is an amazing book. And
this is what the backside looks like for anyone who's wondering.
Yes. And the reason I wanted to show it to you guys is because I'm very impressed. Just like in Disney's animation, let me tell you, artists are wonderful and they're great. You never know what you're going to get. And it is spectacular. It is very interactive. I don't know if you can see these. These are the vines. Yes, I still have the protectors on. Yes, I still have the protectors on because I'm trying to still take care of my book. Because as I can see with my other book, it goes fast.
And this one kind of moves a bit. So basically, it's a really neat book. And I've had fun exploring it and seeing all the different illustrations and stuff for all the different fairy tales.
Yep, it is. But like Sleeping Beauty, like my original book of the World Treasure of Fairy Tales, and this one, and what we're going to be talking about with the Brothers Grimm's and the other books, they vary. For those who have been here since the beginning, we are going to be talking mostly about so we're going to start talking about the actual fairy tale at this point of Sleeping Beauty. We're mostly going to cover two particular authors, but you're going to notice a third one that's going to pop up. We're not going to talk mostly about that third one because it is very dark. It is very
let's just say
it's adult.
Yeah.
And it's very inappropriate. Let's put it this way. People can say thank you to Walt Disney and Brothers Grimm. Even the Brothers Grimm, even though they have some dark stuff, it is nothing in comparison to another version that came first.
Yeah, I learned the other version in college, and yeah, that was an eye opener. It's like, I knew they were darker, that the original versions were darker, but to go that dark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, this is the first time that we're doing Once Upon a Fairy Tale. So you might see a difference between now and the next episode to the next one. But we are going to first begin off with the fairy tale side, the book side of things, before we get into talking about Disney's side. And let me tell you, you're going to see a big difference between this and that, which shouldn't surprise you guys. Of course, Disney's going to change, make things a little bit more interesting.
Sanitizes, I guess you could say, for good reason.
But in this case, I think we won out. We won out as an audience, and as the generations go down, we won out, and I can't wait to tell you guys why.
Although, question, Nicole,
yes,
for those who are curious, will you have a link in your description or somewhere after the show?
I will probably put it out on X, Red 5 Reading. I'm going to be putting stuff additionally. I know there's some stuff in our description already, but there will be additional links. There'll be additional things in the next week that I will be dropping online. So, yeah. All right. So let's go back into time. One, let's just do an overall view. Megan, Brothers Grimm, what'd you think? 5 pages. What'd you think?
Yeah, really easy read. You could do that in like maybe 2 minutes. And that's if you're taking your time.
It's hard to believe that these fairy tales, once upon a time, were meant for adults. As we're about to talk about with the first Sleeping Beauty, they were meant for adults. So if you have a child in your room, you have about a good 30 seconds if you want to shoo them out, because we are going to talk about a little bit of dark stuff, a little bit, just a little bit, and then we're going to go ahead and move on to the other stuff, the actual stuff that is what Walt Disney gave credit to in that regards, and we're also going to be talking about the Brothers Grimm as well. So
yes, because watching the animated Disney version, you can see like call outs to the original version. How it's like they used part of it, but they cleaned it up for kids.
Yes. Okay. So we don't know exactly the year. We know it's anywhere from somewhere between 1634 to 1636 that the first version of Sleeping Beauty is known. Okay. Now there are other versions out there, but this is the first one that we know of. It is I'm sorry. I'm going to apologize right now, my friends, that if I butcher this, I apologize. I don't mean to do it. Basil. My bad. Again, I will drop the actual author's name on X. I promise. The title was called Sun, Moon, and Talia. All right, everybody, get ready. Because that's what Megan and I had to do today. We had to get ready for this. Sun, Moon, and Talia is a very dark take on Sleeping Beauty. Okay. It has rape in it. It has cannibalism in it. It's got some really dark stuff in it. So again, that is not the one I would recommend to read to your children. It is one definitely for the dark ages. And again, it was definitely the one meant for adults during that time. Again, fairy tales were originally meant for the adult audience. And I hope I don't lose everybody from listening because again, it is very dark.
No, not our usual crowd. They're fine with this. No, they're probably just like, we're not surprised at all.
Again, we're not going to go deep into that. That's about it because Megan and I were discussing it. And again, that's not the real counterpart that Walt Disney gave credit to. In fact, when I looked it up, who he gave credit to is the next author I'm going to speak about. And that is from 1697, Charles Perrault. I might begin. I apologize. I do not mean to butcher this at all, but I do want to give credit where credit is due. It is between, so that is who got the main credit when it came to the regards to Walt Disney. Not Brothers Grimm, but Charles. which is pretty interesting. But Charles Perrault and Brothers Grimm that came out in 1813 are about the same. They're German folklore, and they changed it up a bit. There's also, excuse me, there is also some other varieties. Not varieties. That's not the word. Adaptations. Basically, the original is from, started from the 1600s. That is probably going to be your darkest. Again, we know that the Brothers Grimm is also a little bit dark because we know that it includes men dying, and that's what the prince sees. But it is nowhere near as dark as the original. But those are also, again, that's where Disney gave his credit to, was to Charles Perrault. And it is very interesting to see the various adaptations. Again, I have the World Treasury that was made. It was published in Great Britain, but again, it was printed in Czechoslovakia. And it's so interesting because even I saw the differences between my Brothers Grimm book and to the World Treasury. And it's just so neat. Even today, in the last week or so, just preparing for today, I was like, wow, there is so many variants to the same story. And I think that's just because of the way it's been, brought down through the different generations. When those older generations probably weren't all writing down. They were probably talking about it. They were probably sitting around the fire or the bonfire if they're outside, or, maybe sitting in their, sitting in the rocking chair and everyone's listening in. I would assume that's probably how that all originally originated. Folklore does that. Tall tales does that. It's like when I'm telling a story, maybe from my family, somebody finally documents it, somebody else might tweak it. Somebody might change it. And I think you're going to see a lot here, as well as other fairy tales that we're going to be talking about during this series. Looks like Megan's having a little technical issues. Again,
no, sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry, I just switched over to another tab because
you're good.
I was just reviewing a link I sent you earlier that had a collection of different versions from it had a couple from Italy that was like Sun, the Moon, and Anna. One that had like an Italian name. And so I was just reading those earlier today, and then I was just skimming them again. So sorry for technical difficulties.
It's okay. It's okay. But it is crazy, right? When you were reading them, all the different versions.
Yeah.
And I do recommend you read them. However, I do not recommend the oldest one for your children. That is not for your children. It is not.
Yeah. And what I found interesting while reading those different versions is you could even see some call outs to other movies Disney made. Like the last one I read was more of like a Middle Eastern version that could have been like applied to Jasmine and Aladdin. That literally came from 1001 Nights. So it was interesting to see the bits of crossover.
And fairy tales were definitely meant for adults. I love them. I mean, it wasn't until like really the 1800s when they really started switching it over. And then what's in her name? In general, we know her as Sleeping Beauty, but we also have some other names. We have Talia, we have Briar Rose, and we have Aurora. Those are the main ones, though. It seems like Sleeping Beauty is the main name, but then we have the variations. And if I'm correct, I think it was Disney, on the Disney side, when we get there, that actually added Aurora's name in, which means the dawn. Because I do see Briar Rose. I think, did you remember any other ones that came up in our readings?
No. It just like, as I was reading, again, I saw some of the call outs, like you said, the names. It's like in the Disney version, she still kind of keeps the name Briar Rose. Like the three fairies call her Rose, Briar Rose.
Yeah. And then in that, we have, this is interesting. Okay. We're going to talk a few things that are not in the movie real quick. Okay. Not in the Disney animated, not even yet in the, even in the live actions with Maleficent, not. In my variations, we see a fish, a crab. I'm trying to think, a frog. In fact, one says it's a river, one says it's a pond, and one says she's in the bathtub. Anyways, the queen is in the bathtub because originally the queen couldn't have they didn't have a child, and the queen showed her kindness. And I think that's where we now know my apologies. Sleeping Beauty got her kindness from. Wouldn't you agree? I think that's where she gets it. Because we know that her kindness shines through in the animation.
Yeah.
We really don't get to see that, though, very much in the book because she's asleep for most of it.
I believe the saying goes she has all of like 15 lines, something like that.
18 minutes.
Yeah. Very little in her own movie.
Mm-hmm. And but getting back to the book form, I just found that was very interesting because we don't see a queen in the bathtub. We don't see a queen saving or rescuing a fish or a crab near a river or a pond in the animated movie. What we see, though, is her showing kindness in the book. And I just thought that was really interesting. But what gravitated me towards that was the fact that she was giving kindness. And that is probably where that kindness came from, like in the long run. So I just found that interesting. Again, something they completely cut out from the movies.
I mean, considering it's for kids, they could have done the saving the frog part, but I get cutting out the bathing version for kids. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now my next part. Oh, I love this part because I can't wait because we're going to get really nerd out, y'all. Like right now we're kind of nerding out, but when we get to the Disney animated, you guys are going to see a little bit of a difference between me and Megan. We're just probably going to go, ah! I'm excited because the next one is again, another big difference between the books and the animated. And in the books, they seem to be very... I think that one seemed to be very, what's the word? The same, basically. And that is in regards to the fairies. There was not 3 fairies. Can anybody guess in the chat how many fairies there's in the book? Just curiosity. Can anybody want to make a good guess? Pretty sure Megan remembers.
Well, I mean, I read it, so I have the refreshers. But before I reviewed tonight, I actually forgot.
It's interesting when you find out just how many fairies there were. It is. And it is a difference. And
the reason why, because there's something the king could have done to just smooth this all over and make it easy, but
right? All right, I'm going to pull up my picture
didn't happen. Amazing what happens.
I'm going to go and pull up my picture here. I'm going to do this for a moment. There were 13 fairies. No, they didn't call her a witch. They called her a fairy. Yes, the evil one was an evil fairy.
In a lot of fairy tales, there are good fairies and evil fairies.
Yes.
But they're all still fairies.
Mm-hmm. And I think what's interesting to me is that you're right. He could have done different. For those who don't understand, let us back up. I apologize. There were 12 gold plates. And with only 12 gold plates, they decided to invite 12.
Just nix the last one. No reason to invite them. Not like you can have another one made or buy another one.
Or have the conversation.
Yeah. Figure out what you want to do. I'm sorry I don't have enough. Do you want to come? Do you not? Talk, figure it out. Do something. Don't just basically ghost that last fairy.
I think in modern times that makes sense to us, but for them, for whatever reason, that is how they created the evilness in her. You know, I think when we're going to be talking about the counterpart with the Walt Disney Sleeping Beauty, is that, you know, they right off the bat she was evil.
Evil just for evil.
Evil just for evil. Versus in the fairy tale, it is they didn't invite her.
I feel
just like they didn't invite her in the other one. But the difference is in Disney, we don't know that they only had so many plates. He's a king. Okay? King and queen.
He definitely has enough money to buy one more gold plate or do something.
Or have a conversation.
Yeah.
But that's not a part of this, okay? Because obviously they were trying to teach lessons to adults then. To adults. I guess it's about like being jealous, not being, maybe communicating. They had a lot of things they were trying to communicate, especially with the original one.
Basically, like make sure you have enough for everyone or figure out something. Don't just like, no comment, not saying anything. You're not invited. No reason.
Right? You're not invited. No reason. Oh, I wonder why she went ahead and went, you fools.
Yeah. I'm not saying that was the right idea. I'm saying I understand where she's coming from.
Right. I think that is why later on they were able to create something more out of that moment, because they saw something that back then in the 1600s and in the in these other eras that they did not see coming, that in the future we'd be like, excuse me, you're right, she could have done something different, but you could have done something different too. So yeah. Some interesting themes. So now this is what's interesting. Okay. Again, going back to the dark one a little bit. The themes are definitely, they are slightly varied from each book version. The symbolism in the original one from the 1600s with the original with the sun, moon, and Talia, well, it's going to teach you about jealousy. It's going to teach you about
not doing that thing.
Well, in modern day, it's called consent.
Yeah.
There's other things that you learn in that original one. I don't even want to know why these people in the 1600s needed to know these things, but they needed.
I mean, on the plus side, you probably
to be taught or to read fairy tale
birth.
Yeah, about these things. And I know that there was a lot of symbolism in that original one too, from what I know and from what I've read and gathered, from her sleeping to the kiss meaning something. And that's gross because it comes from a person that, hey, we're done with the 1600s. I can't do it.
I've heard the thing about consent and kissing.
Well, we'll talk about that when we get there. We'll talk about that. I'm just like getting over that 1600 one.
Yeah. Thank you, Disney, for
you guys. When I was doing this research for this, I was not expecting this. Okay, I was not. So my mind had to really wrap my head around that. When this is pretty dark, pretty deep.
Disney fairy tales in college, so I knew what I was getting into.
Did they talk to you about the 1600 one though?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
I bet you that's a class you probably did not eat for hours afterwards.
No, I was fine because Brothers Grimm. I heard things here and there about.
Yeah, but that was darker than the Brothers Grimm. The Brothers Grimm is like rated PG in comparison to the original one, which is rated X. In my book, it would be rated X.
I mean, the one where he, let's just say, takes advantage of her.
And other things. Because we just don't do certain things anymore.
We don't need fairy tales to teach us. We just know don't do that. Exactly.
See, Nicholas, you get it. Have you ever tried to plan a small way? Everyone gets agreeable and as long as they are all ours. Yes. It can be done. So this is a little bit on them. Now, and again, I kind of feel like this I think this is on the king's shoulders, so a little bit more than the queen. Why? Because the queen in the books, we know that she gave kindness. She did not originally have children, and either a fish or crab. Somehow, don't ask me how she.
That animal,
they have a child. You're going to have a daughter.
She got pregnant, and
right. Now the original 1600 one, she got another the wrong way.
Yeah.
And even if the other one doesn't make sense because it's
a story, just go with it.
Magical.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the magical one might be better. I mean, the other one's just wrong. So it's just wrong. We're just going to go with that. But then some of the other themes, that again, I think the old ones, it wasn't really necessary themes. I think it's really more in the symbolism, what everything meant.
Yeah.
Again, the fairies were different. There was 12 of them. They gave wishes too and all that stuff. So again,
and they gave similar gifts, like not just kindness, but one was also a gift of song, which I believe was also given in the Disney version. One was
they're only given 3, but yeah, in the Disney version. But yes.
Well, technically 2, and then the third one just saves
Correct. Correct. So 12 versus 2. Technically 11 to 2.
Yeah.
That's a big difference. That's why I said I think she got her kindness really from her mom, from the queen. Like, I really do, because the queen showed kindness. And even though they said that, I'm like, they probably could have changed that one, because I think she would have naturally gotten that, Yeah. It's a very interesting read.
Yeah.
But then we get to Disney. Disney started working on this in 1951. It doesn't come out until January 29th of 1959. It will be Walt Disney's last produced animated film. I can't. I'm like, my brain's like, I can't do it. Oh, it was his last produced. Wow.
Because you gotta love life.
Whoo. He also had a lot going on at that time.
He also had the Disney parks going on that time, building Sleeping Beauty's castle at what would become Disneyland.
Yep. He had a lot going on, y'all.
So seriously, when that man slept, I did. Good question.
Yeah, I asked myself the same thing. How?
Coffee and adrenaline would be my guess.
I don't know. But also during this time, while this film, they spent a lot of money on this film. They put a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort. It didn't do well at the theaters.
Which is surprising that they kept the name of the castle. How it's like the name of being connected to that movie didn't tarnish the name of the castle, which is something they were expecting. It's like, what if this happens? Do we still go with the name? They kept it anyway, and obviously it stuck.
But I think the reasoning of that, of course, is one, the timing and the era that they were in. But I think it was also the emergence of television. You guys are in modern day. We can watch a show or TV, anything on our cell phones. If you have the correct cell phones, you can watch it on your laptops. You can watch it on your computer screens, your PCs. You can watch it on the big screen. Go to the theater. And then, my apologies. It was just different. But at the time, you might have had like maybe one TV per house, maybe one on your block, so people would gather. That's why Wizard of Oz.
Wasn't
really big at the theater, but it's huge in the long run. And I think that's what's happened. That is what's happened, I think, with Sleeping Beauty. It found its audience in the long run. I think it found the people that loved it and cherished it. And that's why it's still around to this day. It's why it made it into Wreck-It Ralph. It is why it made it into shows like Once Upon a Time. It is why we still have merchandise with her on it. It found its way into people's hearts and homes. And I think, it's been going since the 1600s, people. It's not going away. It's one that actually has been given down in the generations. And that's exactly what this part of the reason why I went to this series. Because guess what? These are fairy tales that are going to be lasting beyond us. And that is amazing.
Yeah, we grew up on it. If you have kids, they're growing up on it. Their kids will likely grow up on it. It's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Agreed. First thing we're going to not first thing we're going to talk about, we're going to dig into, and that is the changes with the fairies. Because this was something that was noticed very easily, right? We go from 12
down to a quarter of that.
to 13. 13
Okay, yeah.
to 3. So that's 10 fairies. 10 gone.
And something I'm wondering is if in the original, the 12 good fairies could be referring like to biblical, like the 12 disciples, because a lot of things come from long ago, like religious stuff. And then the
Good point.
13 could be like, because I think I've also heard it said if you have 13 people at the table, the first one that gets up, something's going to happen to them.
That's right. I have heard that. That's a tall tale, I think, or what's the other word for it? A
old wives' tale or something.
Maybe something. I know what I'm trying to say.
Is I wonder if that's what it could have drawn from, like the number of fairies.
Yeah, good point. I hadn't thought about that because let me tell you, after reading the one from 1600s, I really did feel like I needed Jesus.
Yes.
I was like, man, I got to keep reading about Sleeping Beauty, but I need my Jesus right now because this is something else. Like, I'm like, no. Well, especially because that was a fairy tale made for what not to do. Like, come on, really? People need to be told you don't do things like that. Seriously, morality. But no more gold plates.
Yeah.
It was invites. And they made Maleficent. They just made her evil. And
something that caught my eye is, since she's the mistress of all evil, if she could be like a form of Satan in that movie. Because at one point you see her face and there's fire underneath her, and that's all you see. So were they trying to say something there? It's like in this version.
Maybe. Well, what we do know is that it was created very specifically. The voice actress who played Lady Tremaine in Cinderella, she was part of the inspiration for Maleficent because of her voice. She could do a really cool voice, and as well as some additionals. We have the Evil Queen, part of the inspiration from Snow White. I also found that there was somebody, Malia Norma, as Vampira. I'm like, really? They really did think about this. I also found out that they were looking also, of course, at medieval manuscript illustrations and caraboos from ballet. So I thought that was really cool. That was really neat. But that was a huge, huge difference from the books
to Disney,
to the movie, to the animated film.
Yeah.
You guys, Maleficent she's not in the fairy tales. She is not written in the fairy tales. She got her name thanks to Mark Davis, animator, and to Walt Disney. That is where she got her name. In the other books, you'll hear us. Let me think. We have what is she called? Like, there's the evil fairy, evil fairy. Well, they call them godmothers once in a while in the books. There's variations, but the fact that Walt Disney and Mark Davis and these wonderful animators saw an opportunity and went, no. We're going to take this and we're going to make this character great, and we're going to make her big, and we're going to make her awesome.
And in the original version, she's only around to cast the curse. After that, she's just gone.
Yes.
Whereas Disney expanded her role.
Yes. Oh my gosh. What do you guys think in the chat? What do you love about Maleficent? And do you like that Disney took this original minor role and made it her own? What do you guys think in the chat? Because that was huge. And they let her transfigure into a dragon,
which they also ended up using outside of Sleeping Beauty in Fantasmic for the final dragon that Mickey fights.
And also later on in Sword in the Stone with Madame Mim, which I might eventually add into the series. But I loved that. That was so cool. Like, again, we didn't have a dragon in the other Sleeping Beauties. Nowhere is there a dragon. And the fact that somebody went, let's make her a dragon. I'm like, forgive me, Walt Disney.
I mean, Disney's version was set in that medieval era, so why not?
Mm-hmm.
Have fun.
Mm-hmm. Oh, here we go. Backyard TARDIS, Nicholas, thank you. As a kid, I thought she was the same character as the Wicked Queen from Snow White. Well, because that was partial. That was
Your inspiration.
One of the inspirations. One of the inspirations. So you, as a kid, were not wrong. That was part of the inspiration, because they took a combination and created Maleficent. In
How scary can we make her without scaring kids?
I think she's still scared kids. I mean,
okay,
it's okay.
How scary can they make her while still keeping it PG?
Exactly. I want to note, though, because again, ASEAN here. This came out in 1959, and again, they had been creating this since 1951 is when it originally started. She's green. She's slightly got a green tint to her. Well, thank you, Wizard of Oz, because that is kind of where, well, that's not kind of, that's where it started, because that's when colors started, and they made the Wicked Witch green. So then we had a slew of various witches, or fairies in this case. Technically, she's the evil fairy, green. And I thought that was very cool. I love that. I love that they took something and created it and kind of.
And it's like, even to this day, green is still kind of used as like an evil color.
It is. Is it really? It's for both. It's for both. It's for good.
I mean, just like pink can be used for evil, it can also be used for good. So.
It's all in how it's depicted, right? It's all in how it's depicted.
All in perspective.
I would like to make a special note again. Oh, and the other animator working on that was Eric Clueworth. And that's so cool. And Melissa was voiced by Eleanor Audley. So there you go. Eleanor Audley. She was amazing. She is. You guys, let me tell you, when I was doing some research on her, that lady is awesome. Again, I'm going to be dropping a lot of different information tonight through the next week as we go through now in the 15th, just on Sleeping Beauty, very specifically, because I really want you guys to know both the book version and the animated version. And this wonderful actress was wonderful, because she really did encompass not just Maleficent, but others as well as Cinderella. So real quick, I want to go back. I want to talk about the fairies, the three good fairies. So we have Flora, played by Verna Felton, Fauna by Barbara Joe Allen, and Merryweather, also played by a Barbara Luddy. And they just did a wonderful, sweet job. I love their little cute little happy, positive tone they bring to they balance. The three balance out the one Maleficent. I love the balance.
That, and they can also have I want to say I get them confused. It's been a long day, but the one that always dresses in blue has a little bit of sass to her too. I was like, I think this. Yeah, I can relate to that. And also wanting to always go for the easy way out for using the magic wands, even though they shouldn't. But that was 16 years of working hard. I'd want the easy way too.
See, now that's another thing. You bring up a really good point, and that's going to combine with our next thing we're going to be talking about, and that's settings. In the original, they're just in the castle. But Walt Disney and the story writers and the animators, they added in some additional settings. They added in the woodcutter's cottage, as well as the Forbidden Mountain, Maleficent's domain. Okay, you guys, that is, again, those were not in the books. And that is awesome. But the woodcutters is where I want to go back to. The woodcutter's cottage is where the three good fairies took her. And I love the scene where they're making the cake. But I'm like, they're doing this blue pink and making the cake and sewing and stuff they don't know how to do without their wands. And I love that. Why do I love that? Because they're humans. They're human.
Well, at this point, yes.
At that point, they're human. Without their wands, they're just like you and I. Okay, I can't sew a leg.
And
But I can make a good cake, though. I can bake a
what's
good
interesting about that part, though, is I still remember watching it for the first time, and when it said folding 2 eggs, even I was confused. What did it mean by fold in? All I ever heard was mix.
mix. Well, I think fold in was probably a different wording because they also had a different, they didn't have mixing
Well, no, now
bowls and
today
mixing
I've seen
pans and
many different.
KitchenAids. They didn't have any of that. No electricity.
Well, no, my point is that even today I come across the occasional recipe that says fold in this, and that just means gently lift it over itself and mix rather than just straight mixing.
Ubaldo wants us to define what good fairy is. I think they mean not doing evil deeds.
Not being anything not maleficent. That's not dark. That does magic to help, not harm.
We're the 3 good fairies foundation of the creation of scissors. No. Now, that's not to say that those that wrote Hocus Pocus later on was not inspired by 3. But remember, we went from 13 fairies down to 4 in the animated version, and the 4th being Maleficent, who was evil.
And I have a feeling Disney cut down on the number just for storytelling reasons, just to make it easier and straightforward. And
agreed. But they made the animators also helped make them funny, make them kind, make them positive, and make them relatable.
A little bit sassy.
I like that. I need some sass, because if not, it gets boring.
Yeah, what's life without a little sass?
I don't know.
I don't want to know life without sass.
I don't know. I really don't know. But then again, we have Maleficent has a mountain, you guys, the Forbidden Mountain. And that, of course, is where she has her dungeon. And she has a raven named Diablo. And they hold Prince Philip. In the books, we don't have a name, but they gave him a name.
Just the prince.
Yeah, he's just the prince. Psst, he's just the prince. What does that mean?
Kind of like Snow White's prince didn't really have a name. Mm-hmm. Just the prince.
But we know his name is Prince Philip, and they gave him that. And they gave him a personality. They gave him more than just being the lips that kissed Sleeping Beauty. I would like to say, now I'm going to go back a little bit with the Forbidden and talk about Prince Philip to the book variation. Some of the same things are slightly the same and slightly different. In the books, he talks to an old man about the castle, and they have 100 years. Mm-hmm. They don't have 100 years in the movie. They don't.
I think they have like 2-3 days in the movie.
Right. They changed it. Huge. But they brought in the prince, still the same. He still talked to an old man, but it was actually his dad in this case, the king. But he didn't really talk to him about what was happening. But, in the books, we know that he has to,
well, in the movie, he tells his dad that he met a maid in the forest, but that's about it.
His dad was not happy about that. He was like, we ain't doing that today. We're not doing that.
You've been betrothed since birth, son.
Mm-hmm. But then, of course, that's also where we get the dragon, and we get this amazing, amazing scenes, that create this excitement and adrenaline rush, and
and there's a reason why they recreated it in Fantasmic at the end and used that as the big show finale.
Yes, I'm telling you guys, like, we can thank Walt Disney and Mark Davis and these other animators of their time, because they gave us Maleficent. They gave us something we did not have before, and I am so grateful. I mean, other than
terrifying fun.
Yes, this is good terrifying. The original terrifying, I was like,
Yeah, it's like the Snow White version of terrifying in the forest where she literally collapses from fear. Yeah.
No. Well, yes and no, but we'll get to that when we get to that one. But yeah, so I really, really like that. But then again, we also have the castle, which is lovely and beautiful when it's beautiful and lovely. Most of the book version is the same as regards to Disney, and that is the spindle, except for the 1600 version. But again, Walt Disney gave credit to Charles.
Charles Perrault, I believe.
Not even to Brothers Grimm. He gave it to Charles Perrault. I wonder if that's a copyright issue. I didn't think about that. Maybe they could get the copyright on that one, but go and get the other one. Just putting it out there, y'all. Just putting it out there. Because that's who got credit for this. So yeah, very, very, very cool. Some additional things I want to talk about before we wrap up. And thank you guys for everybody for sticking around with us. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Again, this is a new series and we're still figuring it out. It's fun. It's going to be a change up. It's going to be great. Let's talk about music. Music, we know, was composed by George Bruns. But he also did a lot of Tchaikovsky in this, a lot of animated, a lot of orchestra. But of course, the two big hits that came out of that we still sing to this day is I Wonder, which is what she's doing at the beginning, singing in the forest. And then at the end, Once Upon a Dream.
Well, she sings it once in the forest and then it plays again at the end.
Right.
She doesn't sing it, it just plays.
Mm-hmm. I like how the sound music is so important. And they did an amazing job. Again, going back to even that moment with Maleficent and Prince Philip, and she's a dragon, and that sound makes all the difference in how we react to it. Like it gets that excitement. And then even when she's dancing in the forest, and I wonder, you all of a sudden feel like you get this lull, you get this like
kind of like a lullaby,
dream state,
like relax.
This dream state that she's in. And I love that dream state. And the first time they meet and he's got a horse. That's also not in, again, we don't know if he had a horse or not. Look in the other ones. Unless there's an adaptation. Many adaptations.
Some of them, it says that he goes hunting, so it's assumed that he'd be on a horse.
It's assumed. It's
not outright stated.
But never stated. But again, many variations of the story, even in the two that I showed you guys at the beginning of the show, there are different variations of this. The themes. There is the theme of love. There's the theme of time. The theme of love conquers all.
The theme of don't mess with evil.
Yeah, that too. But let's remind everybody, hello. They could, in this one, the evil queen gets mad because she didn't get an invite. So I guess the theme there, and probably also with the original, is how do we control our attitudes and control how we respond when we're not invited to because we're not going to always be invited to everything. Oh, look, there it is. Why, everybody? There it is. Okay.
There's the
what do you mean? Well, there it is.
Invited to something.
Okay, exactly. How do we? Hi, Alphaba. Hi, sweetheart. Here she is. My other little witch right there. How do we handle when we're not invited to something? We've all been there, right? When we've been kids, and
especially in high school, I'm sure.
High school, elementary. You don't get invited to everything. As an
adult, get mad, you stomp off. You just deal with it yourself.
Oh, great! You invited everybody else, but you invite me. Okay, and here's the difference, friends. Okay, for those who don't know, in the 1600s, they didn't have cell phones. They didn't have electricity.
They had word of mouth and writing.
So they were already talking about something that we still talk about today, and that is how do we behave when we don't get invited to something? Now, again, we already mentioned how maybe the king could easily have invited her. I mean, it was just plates, gold plates.
Well, I'm sure she would have felt slighted had she been invited and they got gold plates, but I'm sorry, this hurts. This is insulting. What's up with my plate?
Right. But in this regard in Disney, for the christening, they simply, no, she's evil, so she's not going to get it. And she
needed a villain, so think of it.
It's like, well, that's fine. I'm coming anyways. She still showed up. And how do we behave? How do we react? We cannot control how other people behave or what they say, how they react, but we can only control our own words and our own actions. Do we do it in grace and kindness and respect, or do we do a couple of double Carrie Fishers? If you know, you know. Okay. Or as I like to say, half of a peace sign. But there's a difference because one's going to get a different reaction than the other, and showing love and kindness and
it's
grace
like if you need to get mad, okay, go get mad somewhere else privately, and then later if you want to go back and ask, I'm sorry, why? Is there a reason?
Right. So I guess we just figured out the original theme from the books too.
Yeah.
Live right here.
Basically, don't flip out.
Yeah, it happens. It's all good. It's all good. Well, because I think originally with all the books, I felt like I was finding all the symbolism behind certain elements. It wasn't really looking at themes. And now as we're talking about themes and the Disney.
It's coming to your mind. More things are clicking.
Wow. How do we handle it? You read Sleeping Beauty and you learn. That's what you do.
Yeah. What
and you
I
watch
do
Disney.
When I get mad at someone, or it's like say I'm not invited to someone, okay, fine, guess I'm going to work out, or I'm finding the nearest pillow or something to scream into.
Or you call your friend Nicole and like we have a watch party, or we talk about Maleficent.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, there's other fun things you can do. There is. Yeah. This, as much as I like the fairy tale itself, I feel like Disney really did an amazing job on taking their adaptations and leveling it up. Again, by adding Maleficent, they added something that they didn't see before.
Well, technically, there always was an evil fairy, but what you meant was expanding her role.
Correct. Exactly. And adding in the dragon, because that's just cool. Okay, that's just cool, people. And especially on the big screen. Could you imagine seeing like that dragon on a...
Oh, could you... No, now, today, could you imagine it in 3D, having her come at you?
Okay, I'm manifesting. Dear AMC, dear Marcus, dear Cinemark, dear every theater out there, please, can you give a thumbs up? And then to the movie theaters, can you please bring back Sleeping Beauty in 3D? Okay, because we really do want that.
We want that dragon coming at us about to bite our heads off. Because it's all 3D, we don't actually get hurt. But could you imagine those jaws snapping in 3D?
And I thought,
you hear the sound of it, and it sounds like two pieces of steel coming together.
This really could have. We might as well just went with the dark one at this point. Sheesh, the dark story of Sleeping Beauty and. Thankfully, that did not happen. The cook saved the children. I will spoil alert you. I will give that to you. Children were saved in the making of that story.
Not that it's the darkest thing Disney could have done, but it was definitely one of them.
I am so glad. I can imagine that Walt Disney, I bet you when Walt read that, probably went, no, not this one. We're going to go with this one.
Well, I mean, someone had to pitch him the original idea of Sleeping Beauty. So
but I'm pretty sure he did not. I'm sure he said no to the original. I am sure he said no to the original. I am not reading the chat currently because they're going on.
I am.
You're not.
Add in some orange pork.
No, thank you.
And I'm there.
So some bonus stuff before we begin to wrap it up tonight. We know that there's additional stuff. Again, I'm going to be throwing some stuff out onto the chats. I didn't get really a chance to put in some photos tonight, so I apologize. That will be probably next time. But of course, you can visit Sleeping Beauty's castle in California. Megan, would you like to take a few minutes and talk to us about what that experience is like?
Well, basically, it's not very long, but over the years, it's gone through a few different iterations. First, it just started off as like flat dioramas. I could walk through a small part of the castle and see like upstairs, downstairs. I've been through it a few times, and yeah, it's a lot of walking. But luckily, in later years, like want to say it was the early 2000s that they put in a part where you can more watch the walkthrough as a movie for those like in wheelchairs or that had a harder time getting up and down stairs. So you can still see the same thing, same dioramas, but it was easier. Then over the years they changed into more 3D stuff that look. I'm just using this as random. Oh, what's a good one? Yeah, they kind of look more 3D like this.
Okay.
And then there was even one part with Maleficent that they took out for a time because it was just too scary for kids at the time. So, point is, it's gone through a lot of changes. It's interesting. A lot of people overlook it, but if you want a chance to actually walk through the castle at Disneyland, last I checked, it was still open. It was still open as a walkthrough.
Nice. Very neat. Very, very neat.
Yeah, so basically everyone can enjoy it, whether you're in a wheelchair or whether you can walk through it. So if you ever find yourself in Disneyland, typically, since it's so short, there's not much of a wait, if any. Just go check it out and enjoy.
Nice. Also, again, Sleeping Beauty has really emerged into our stratosphere, not just at Disneyland, not just in a books and in animation. It has now been a part of a TV show called Once Upon a Time. There is an actress who played Maleficent, and she did a wonderful, wonderful job. And I loved the fact that you could see both sides to her, both Maleficent and the good side, which was, again, something we would not normally see. I'm trying to find her name. My apologies right now. And she did a great job. So again, that's in Once Upon a Time. That is a TV show you can actually currently still find on Disney Plus. Also, Sleeping Beauty, still, again, she's in animated shows, kids shows. You can still find her. Other things that she has now been in, there's games and things you can find her in. Wreck-It Ralph, like Megan's t-shirt. You can find her in Wreck-It Ralph. Breaks the Internet, because she's also known as the Nap Queen. And of course, there's the two. There's Maleficent, and then there's 1 and 2. There's the sequel too.
What's interesting is it's only the second one that's on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
so the first one is for free.
As of this date, March 5th, 2025, you can only watch number 2, Maleficent, on Disney Plus. Don't kill the messengers. Now, you could be watching this later, and it might be there. Check.
But as of this date, there's only number 2.
Yeah. I personally own them, so it doesn't really affect me. But Maleficent's really interesting because they gave an opportunity, right? Because again, Maleficent wasn't in the books. She was an evil fairy. And Walt Disney and the animators, Mark Davis and their crew there, their staff, which thank you to them, brought in and they created this new character, Maleficent. They expanded her character. And then years later,
always there, but expanded in Disney.
Right. And years later, they brought her into live action. Angelina Jolie, of course, played Maleficent, and they took her role and expanded it again. And I think it's interesting because I brought up how I felt like if it was going to be on somebody's shoulders from the original books, it would be on the king's, because the queen was very kind. She had shown kindness to creatures.
And in the original animated, she didn't even get a name. It was just like the king, whatever, I forget what. Oh, King Stefan and his queen.
Queen Leia.
Was that actually her name, or? Or never realized that.
You know what? I think maybe that was added in by Disney. I take that back.
But that's what I'm saying. In the Disney version, we don't hear her name. We just hear King Stefan and his queen. She doesn't actually get a name in Disney.
But we know it. But it is Leia. Leah, not like Leia, like from
like
Star
Disney,
Wars, but
like this.
Yeah, differently. Very good point. Yes, we also have Maleficent in Dreamlight Valley. It looks like we're we're in August, so good to know. Also, I love Disney Sums, and they're in there. She's in that game, and she's great. So again, Maleficent and Sleeping Beauty has really taken over, in pop culture. So even to this day, again, originally written in the 1600s, it's still around. It's not going anywhere. So it'll be interesting to see what we'll see next of Sleeping Beauty or of Maleficent. Again, we've gotten 2 movies, live actions. I actually like the live actions. We're not going to go deep into that today, other than we like it, and Angelina Jolie, and check it out. Because again, we want to cover the book version and the Disney animated. So it'll be interesting to see what will happen. Again, theaters, hello, bringing in 3D. Because you're right, I do want to see the dragon now, like on the big screen, because that would be awesome. Again, I am so excited because again, this was the first of this series, and thank you, Megan, for joining me tonight on the beginning of this adventure. Some people might be like, but Nicole, Snow White comes first.
Oh, well, it's Nicole's show. She can go in whatever order she wants.
I know that she comes first in the Disney stratosphere. I do know. She's the one who started off. She's in the golden age, and we are going to be covering Snow White on Friday, March 21st. Yes, not on a 5. You are correct. We're actually going to be covering for the first on the first day of spring. I am very excited because I have been talking with Megan, with my friend Jennifer, as well as Kim from Used and Abused. And we really want to honor the Brothers Grimm's Snow White, and we want to honor Walt Disney's Snow White creation from 1937. So we're going to be doing
should exist.
So we are going to be celebrating. You're going to notice after the 15th, which I will talk about in just a second, we're going to be doing a lot of celebrating Snow White. But again, what you're going to notice from myself, from Kim at Used and Abused, you might see Megan post and stuff. We're going to be talking about Snow White from Brothers Grimm and other adaptations. We're also going to be talking about the 1937 animated Snow White. And again, we're planning on doing a live stream special on the 5s on the 21st. The 15th, I have a feeling I will not be here. And I'm going to do an early shout out to my parents. Happy anniversary to my parents, because their anniversary is actually the 15th. And so I have a feeling I will be with them on the 15th. So instead of the 15th, we're going to do something special on the first day of spring. And I'm excited because my parents were, up there like 40 some years of marriage, and they deserve to have their children with them. So I will be with
congrats them. Congrats to
them. So happy anniversary, Mom and Dad, early anniversary to my parents, to Kenny and Brenda. I'm so proud of them. They raised me to, they've allowed me to really
be use my own self.
Oh my gosh. Music. I love everything. Movies. I love everything, people. See, 45 years to my parents. Congratulations to my parents. 45 years.
Yes, congratulations.
If you don't see it on the 5s, it is because we will be here special on the 21st. So yes, thank you, Scott, for that. Happy anniversary. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that I won't be dropping stuff that day, because on the 15th, leading up until the 21st, you're going to see my Twitter is going to be,
Disney
Twix,
Princess.
X, whatever. It is going to be Snow White saturated. But please listen to how I'm saying this. And that is, again, you're going to see that I'm going to bring it from Brothers Grimm's. I'm going to bring it from book adaptations. I'm on Peace, Love, Fandoms. Again, you're going to see the 1937 version of Snow White. Again, I want to honor the memory and legacy of Walt Disney. That was his first princess, and I want to honor that. Again, these are not going to be necessarily in chronological order to Walt Disney's versions. These are good at one scheduling, right? Today was a little bit different. Megan was amazing. She jumped in because we were actually going to start somewhere else, and things happen.
Yeah, Nicole said, I was texting Nicole. She said she was struggling for today. Even though I knew my schedule, how tight it was going to be, I was like, I'll try to make it work. I made it work, and here we are.
Either way, we're going to start the series tonight. But instead of Princess Tiana, and that will be happening, we had to switch it out for Sleeping Beauty. Jennifer will be joining us later this series to talk to us. Is going to be talking with me about Princess and the Frog, or the Frog Prince, as well as Princess and the Frog. Marisha will be rejoining me again sometime this series. We're going to be talking about Cinderella, and trust me, I cannot wait. That's going to be fun. That's going to be a lot of fun because Marisha, she's a seamstress. She works in the SAG. She's going to be awesome. She's going to be bringing us a lot of really cool fashionista stuff, and I'm excited for that. She won't be going, Scott. If you're in the chat, you know what he wrote right now, and I can tell him she don't want to go. She's going to be with me. She's going to be with me.
Going alone.
And a few of us, it might even be more than just Kim with us. So again, mark your calendars, March 21st. And March 25th, I'm not sure. I know that we're going to be continuing the series. I just don't know if that will be Tiana or something else that day. We'll see. So make sure that you're subscribed to the Red 5 reading channel on X. Make sure you're subscribed here on the Red 5 channel. Again, you can check us out on the bio link /Red5, as well as many other podcasts. Megan, what do you have? I mean, other than hanging out with me and nerding out over
over
fairy
tales, over Star Wars, over
right?
anything and everything, over Wicked.
Right? What do you have coming up?
As usual, I'm trying to get back into my blog because now I have more of an idea, more of a direction of where I want to go with it. I can't say yet when it's going to be out, just that I'm going to try digging into it more and giving more time to it.
I hope you don't mind me asking this question, but like when you're watching any Disney animated films or when you're reading, do you ever see yourself in these characters? Do you ever go, wait, maybe they didn't catch that? Or I hope I'm phrasing this right.
The main two I saw myself in was Sleeping Beauty, obviously, because I love sleep.
Nap
That's
queens.
just my sleep at your own risk. And the second one I saw myself as is Belle, because I love reading. And I know if I have downtime at work, there's a high chance you'll find me reading.
Well, same. And I know that in the original, you also talked about Mulan too. So I know you like Mulan too.
Yeah. So because it's fun feeling powerful like that, like during my workouts. So.
And I'm excited because I want to go back real quick to talk about this series. I don't think this is going to end with just the 5. I say 5 because Snow White was not original. We talked about Snow White, but we didn't talk about her in the Used and Abused breakdown on the Disney Ladies Night, which again, you could check out in the Used and Abused archives. And we had so much fun that night. And that's the reasoning I wanted to do this. I'm like, you know what? I want to know more.
It's been boiling in your mind ever since.
Yes. But then here I am, looking at this and going, this is going to expand. How do I know it's going to expand? Well, because there is a lot of Brothers Grimm. There's over 13 just alone. That's just Brothers Grimm. That does not include any of these other adaptations. Today, somebody sent me, well, not sent me, I'll be honest about it. Mr. Andrew over at Science Fictionary, he actually asked me if I would be willing to do Tolkien's fairy tale. And I'm like, yeah, of course. And then that is actually based off of an essay. So we're looking at that. For those who don't know, okay, you look at Wizard of Oz and you're like, Nicole, that is a book. I have news for you. It is not just a book. Okay. L. Frank Baum wrote Wizard of Oz because he wanted American fairy tales for children. He even did an updated, it's called, there's Mother Goose. There's also Father Goose. Father Goose is L. Frank Baum. And he has written, so I'm like, no, we're going to do this Once Upon a Fairy Tale because there is a lot to fairy tales and the animated counterparts. Now, I understand that Tolkien might not necessarily have an animated counterpart, so there are going to be times where maybe I won't be doing an animated counterpart, but just deep diving. Because if somebody really wants to deep dive with me and go, hey, you want to do Tolkien? You want to do their fairy tale essay? Heck yeah, because that means I get to do what I normally do on the Fives, which is getting to know my fellow content creators. because it's fun. It inspires me. It encourages me. And thank you even to Kim, my Use and Abuse fellow co-host. Again, she'll be back here with me on the 21st talking about Snow White. And, she's very encouraging, inspiring, and that's what makes it wonderful. And the same with you. It encourages me. And I will do that because that is amazing. Scott, who's in the chat, again, one of my other fellow co-hosts, music is, we both love to jam out to music. So I always try to make sure there's a music component because I felt so inspired and I remember that. And that's always fun to me. So that is
again,
exactly,
if you wanted to revisit this later, you could dive in with Scott or Kim, because they both like music, and talk just about the music in Sleeping Beauty, or even the music in Snow White, or any of the Disney fairy tales.
Yep. So, but it's going to be a little of a mix. Every time that you come into the series, it's going to be a mix. Me getting to know my fellow content creators, talking about the fairy tale in the actual book form, and then talking about it in regards to the animated. That's what the current was, into the animated form. So I'm excited. I'm excited. And I just say thank you again to everybody. Please hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. Again, my name is Nicole. This is Megan from An Autistic Point of View. You can find us on X. I'm on Instagram also, Peace Love Fandoms. Peace Love Fandoms on X, as well in Red 5 Reading, which is where the book club is. Currently with the book club, we are reading C.S. Lewis's. We're on book 2 of his Space Trilogy. But guess what? It's coming. We're going to start rocking out. We're going to be reading Van Halen's Brothers book. I'm so excited. Brothers. It's going to be great. I'm excited because this is a book I haven't read before, and I love music. So I'm so excited for that book. But, oh, man, we have a wonderful year coming up. Because after we get done reading Van Halen, we've got so much more stuff coming up. We're going to be in May. We're going to be reading Star Wars. In June, we're going to be reading The Hobbit by Tolkien. And starting for my birthday in July, we're going to start the Narnia series. I'm so excited. C.S. Lewis, y'all. Let me tell you, it's going to be a great year. And in October, we're going to be doing some Anne Rice. It's going to be a great year. We're even starting to plan 2026. And if you want to be involved, please send me a DM. Okay. Because guess what? When you're in the Red 5 Reading Book Club, I listen to your suggestions. We do votes right there, right in our Discord. Sometimes I will do public votes. Sometimes, and I did a lot the first year. I still do with a few of them. But those who are showing up, I want to listen to them. And if you want to be a part of that, we'd love to have you. We don't just talk about books. I'll be honest. We talk about books, but we also support each other, and what happens there stays there. And it's just a really good community. It's a really fun time. And it's great. So, oh yeah, Brothers. That's the one we're going to be reading in April. April Brothers. It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited. And yes, thank you. Thank you, Scott. Thank you. I know this is the first one, you guys. I know it's going to look a little different as time goes on, but I am just so grateful that everybody is here today in our chat. And thank you again, Megan. I appreciate this. Again, I know that this one got turned around a little bit, and originally this one was planned for later, but I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad we started off with this. It's amazing. Yes, books. This is the driving force, right? I mean, on the fives in conjunction with the Red 5 Reading Book Club. This is it.
What you really need at some point, Nicole, is to find a green screen and put yourself in a library.
My dad would just tell me just to line up all my books and sit in front of them. I actually have
the green screen is easier to move around.
That's all books. I have my room. Oh, sorry, y'all. I keep doing that for lighting. My bedroom is filled with books. There is books everywhere in my room, and I'm still reconfiguring that because every day I'm like, how do I redo it? And which is reason why originally this room did not have books in it, and I put them in there.
Basically, how do you move books around yet still have room to walk?
It's interesting. Have you ever seen the movie Sabrina?
No, not that I can remember.
There are 2 versions of Sabrina, one with Audrey Hepburn and one with Harrison Ford. Okay. I love them both. I do. I love them both. Different reasons. But one is the same component. The dad reads. He reads. My dad, see? Oh, hold on. Ubaldo goes, I have books even in my garage. Yeah. Now be careful. I have been moving my books out of like even out of basements and stuff because it's not good for it. So you got to be careful. The moisture. It's all about moisture. If you can control the moisture, you're fine. Yeah. He's not lying.
And what's your dad's point? Because I fail to see it.
Oh, he's confirming. He's confirming. There is no point. There's confirmation. He knows now, and I've even donated. I will go through my books sporadically and get rid of the ones that I'm like, man.
Instead of the woodcutter's cottage, maybe you should go with the castle, just so it can be kind of like Belle too, with her own library.
Okay, but I'm I like the quiet.
You need room for all your books, though. Where are you going
to? I want one. Okay, but in the woodcutter's cottage, there needs just to be room just full of books. Simple.
You don't have much room there, which is why I'm saying go for the castle. But okay.
And like the Hobbit, I want like a round door. She ever gets her podcast room finished, and then ouch! Wow, you think that Scott was my dad? Thanks, big brother. Ow!
Don't you just love having him for a co-host and friend?
Big brother on my side right now. Red 5 brother. Ow!
Maybe it's red because it burns.
You know what's funny? So my dad is probably gonna. He probably agrees with Scott. He's seen that room and he knows that room is a little.
So in other words, do not put your dad and Scott in the same room together. They will have too much fun.
Oh no, they will. I can guarantee it. We've talked about it. We've talked about it because they love music. My parents love music. I'm like, man, I got to get Scott and Kim up here. I got to take them out so we can go dancing and listen to music. But here's the cool thing. Kim's going to be hanging out with me and we're going to be dancing. You know what Scott's going to be? No, Kim's going to be with me and my mom dancing, okay? And our friends. You know where Scott's going to be? He's going to be with my dad and they're going to be talking about music and everything else.
Hey, as long as everyone has fun.
They will. It's a guaranteed. It's like in my mind, I can already see it. I tell them all the time. Like if they came up, I already know what we have planned. Like yeah. She would definitely need a very large room. Yes, he's not wrong. He's not. It's not wrong. It's just the lay of the land was not my choosing, you know, and with where I live, it is what it is. So I just make do.
As long as you have somewhere where you can sleep at night.
I do. And yes, a roof over my head. And I'm very blessed. I'm very, very blessed. And I tried to do my best to thrift my books and things like that. And but I have books since childhood. You guys, this was my mom's book originally. And again, eventually my daughter will get it. I'm hoping to get this rebound, which is the goal before she gets it. Although I did finally find a copy of it and I'm tempted to get it. I'm actually just waiting because I want to make sure that it's in better condition than this one, because if it's not, I'm just going to put the money into this one getting a rebound. Anyways, so I do. I try to thrift my books as much as I can or go to, goodthriftbooks.com and I do it that way too. So yeah, but again, I try to balance as much as I can. As much as I can. So, yeah.
Have you seen Scott's comment?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there too. That would be my form of fun as well. My own library. Just leave me alone in peace.
If the library gets too big, you have to be careful about. Oh, Whovian fans know Doctor Who. Okay, so there is this artist, and her name was just in my head. I've met her before at C2E2, and she does these really cute TARDIS artistries with different Disney characters, and they have books in her hand, and I'm like, oh my gosh, could you imagine having a library inside the TARDIS? Like that's interesting to me. However, the one that's still, I heard her say this is true. I want the library from the Beauty and the Beast.
That's what I was referring to.
Like, you know what else is really cool? Okay, we talked about how neat and amazing it would be to see the dragon from Sleeping Beauty in 3D.
Ooh, I'm
Just leave me there.
Library.
Just leave me there. Because that's just amazing. Now, the only thing that's missing out of that particular library, and I'm sure you're going to hear me talk about it again eventually when we talk about Belle and Beauty and the Beast, is the fact that I also like sci-fi. I mean, I do. I like Star Wars. I like.
Well, you have the classic I like. There's other things. You have a classic section, but then you also have the action adventure sci-fi section,
a comic book section. You guys, I have a love for many things. I mean, my poor parents, you know, as a kid, they should have already known, because did I love either or cats or dogs? No, I loved both, and I wanted a horse. Did I love one type of music? No, I loved everything. Did I love one particular type of show? Yes, I love sitcoms, but no, I loved everything. Did I like just one particular type of movie? No, I loved it all. I was never a child of just one thing. I mean, yes, I loved Little Mermaid. I did. I loved Little Mermaid, you know, but I'm telling you right now, when I had Aladdin and Jasmine Barbie dolls, I loved Beauty and the Beast. Those came out and I was like, whoop, right there. I have always just been a girl of variety. I love vintage. And now that is something they can tell you. I love old. I love vintage, which is, again, part of the reason why I really wanted to do this series. I love old. I love vintage. I love learning these things and knowing that things have been around since 1600s. I like the fact that, like, what they're creating today, that's the importance of how you create things, is that it could still be around in 100 years to 1,000 years. That is
they're classics for a reason.
Mm-hmm. And I think they did something, minus the one from 1600s. That first one.
Yeah.
The sun, the moon, and Tesla.
Yeah. That one's there. They acknowledge it exists, and that's about it.
It's still there. It's, again, I really do. I want it. It's like, I wish I should just, like, at Stephen King. Were you inspired by this for your books?
I wonder.
Like, I'm just curious because, you know, it started like his books. Just curious.
One of those questions you'd ask if you ever got lucky enough to have a meal with him.
That's for Scott. I swear, if I ever got invited to talk to Stephen King, I would have to invite Scott, because
he'd probably be really mad.
That would make more sense than I would. I love Little Mermaid. As a teen, I took the steel drum lessons. I will say, eventually we will be talking about Little Mermaid. That's by Hans Christian Andersen. Because, again, that's got a little bit of a dark side to it too. I don't know. That's probably not going to necessarily be in the first. Well, it could be in the first one. We'll see. We'll see. It's coming, though. Little Mermaid is coming, and I do love Little Mermaid. But that, again, will be the books to its counterpart of the animated.
That, and maybe at some point you could do not just the fairy tales, but also like Disney Renaissance movies. Just if you can, we can talk about it later.
Oh yeah. Let me tell you, my ideas. It's a lot. So, but anyways, this has been so much fun. I have Elfie, who might be on screen here in a minute because she's up here near me right now. You might see a tail. I mean, she is the official mascot of Used and Abused. Eventually, we are going to be getting back on there, and I'm excited for that. But for now, this is wonderful. I'm excited. Again, the Red 5 Reading Book Club meets on Sunday nights, and we have a Discord, so we have channels. So if you're unable to make it, we make it happen. We make things work. You know, see, I called it. I said it.
Just like Nicole was nice enough to push this back for me so I could make it.
I do what I can. If I'm able to, I will do my best. So, again, you might see a little notice in how this is done, because this is the first one of this type of stream, but I'm excited. It was fun. It was great.
Yeah.
Again, thank you to everybody in the chat. Again, happy early anniversary to my parents. 45 years, people. 45 years.
Ooh.
I mean, that is Once Upon a Dream right there, 45 years. And thank you again to everybody. I really appreciate you. Please make sure you hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Please follow me on X and Megan on X, because again, you can read her blogs or read her past blogs and you'll know what's coming up. Again, March 21st, though, is the next one. Again, that's a special date for the first day of spring. And again, special reasonings. We're going to be talking about the book version of Snow White and the 1937 animated Walt Disney version of Snow White. Again, we're going to be paying homage to the OGs, to the originals. So anyways, until next time, this has been so much fun. Thank you guys again for coming. I really do appreciate you. You guys have a good night. Thanks.